What's up, and welcome to my Project Zomboid Build 42 Combat Clinic. This is intended for people coming from Build 41 who just want the best chances they can get for their character to survive day one, which, no, it's not as easy as you think. Even with my hundreds of hours in Build 41 and consistently surviving months at a time before honestly getting bored with the character or changing mods or something like that, they changed combat mechanics just enough that I lost my first 3 characters within the first 7 game days in situations that I'd have easily handled in Build 41. But before diving into the runs and what I found in testing, let's start with the builds I used. For this demonstration, I decided to not take Stout, Strong, Fit, or Athletic. Those perks are expensive, costing 6 points each for Stout and Fit, and 10 for Strong and Athletic. That means you're going to need some pretty serious negative traits if you want to run them, and I wanted to keep these builds as cheap and simple as possible so you could expand on them to suit your playstyle. I also didn't consider sense perks like Cat's Eye, Keen Hearing, or Eagle Eyed for the same reason. Some people use them, some don't, I don't. Take as you will for your style. Understand you may need more drawbacks if you want to run those on one of these builds. Instead, I focus on maximizing a certain weapon skill as much as reasonable, with maintenance as a secondary, so we don't have weapons breaking on us in the middle of combat. Good news, it only happened with one type of weapon, short blades. These 2 firefighters alone need about a third of the durability of my pocket knife, and I broke more short blades than I collected short blunts, so just something to keep in mind. Getting into the mechanics a bit though, melee weapons do more damage based on your strength and your skill with that weapon. And from what I've experienced, it feels far more weighted towards your skill than your strength. The other advantage to focusing on one type of melee weapon is that the durability of the weapon also scales with your skill in addition to maintenance. So maybe don't give the new swordsman your prized katana, maybe they should be using like scrap swords for a little while until they get their skill up or something. But on top of that, you suffer less muscle strain and endurance loss using a weapon you're good at using. So, again, just keep that in mind when you're picking out your weapons and then also setting up your build for that. I decided not to include guns in this video for the most part, mostly for length. But I did get plenty of footage of what a new character with 0 aiming looks like when using the 2 most common firearms in the game. The JS2000 pump-action shotgun, both normal and sawed-off, and the M9 pistol. Here's a quick sample of it. Short version, stick to the shotguns. M9s are manageable, but enough said. To be clear, I'm being an idiot and getting away with it for the sake of this video. Don't do what I'm doing and just pop off in Rosewood on day 1, especially on a server once multiplayer hits. You're literally dragging zombies to the best starting weapon spawns in the city, and your day 1 character can't cash the checks as shotgun rights in this town, at least at this point. So, build 1. For build 1, I went with the Build 41 Classic, Lumberjack and Brawler. Lumberjack is still the best bang for your buck, combat-based occupation early game by about 1.5 miles, giving +2 axe, +1 maintenance, and +1 strength, plus the expert perk that will let you swing faster and do more damage, all while costing 0 points total. Like, I could have just left it there, but Brawler is how you maximize your axe skill early on, so I also added Conspicuous and Weak Stomach. All of these builds have Conspicuous, by the way, so if you see zombies not noticing me on completely default Apocalypse settings while having no skill and the drawback that is supposed to make stealth a lot harder, that's intended game design, I think? Anyway, build 2 is honestly my favorite of the bunch. Construction Worker gives +3 to short blunt masonry, then +1 to maintenance, and also +1 carpentry. It also costs 2 points to have the max starting bonus to short blunt, so I threw in gymnast for that bonus to nimble. Very helpful walking backwards with short weapons. Once again, I added weak stomach and conspicuous for negatives and just called it a day. But an honorable mention here is blacksmith knowledge for the cheapest trait that boosts your maintenance skill, and in this case it's also pretty thematic for a guy who likes swinging hammers. Build number 3 is a little bit more maintenance focused than weapon focused. Burger Flipper gives the max bonus to short blade from a job, +1, along with +2 cookie and +1 maintenance. I then added blacksmith knowledge for +1 maintenance, rounding it out with conspicuous to make it the cheapest build of the bunch. This build is neither the best with short blade nor the best for maintenance, but the only trait that boosts short blade is hunter, costing 8 points, and the only other traits that boost maintenance are handy and wilderness knowledge, both also costing 8 points. So I went for an efficient build that at least had something to work with at the beginning, and also I needed a third weapon type, so it's not just you pick axe or hammer and there's nothing else. If I was playing for real, I'd have just grabbed short blunt weapons, even though I have no skill in it for this build. At least those wouldn't break so easily. It was a serious problem. Something to note is that the short-bladed weapons felt so weak that I just couldn't bring myself to keep using them more than I have to. So if you see me recycling clips for it, it's because I genuinely didn't enjoy this build or how the knives felt, and I don't recommend it. For the runs, I went with 100% default apocalypse settings, touching absolutely nothing and adding 0 mods. These aren't the settings I like to play with, but I'm doing this for vanilla, so I better be playing true vanilla default experience. The other part that I could control and did was spawning in Rosewood. All 3 times I spawned in the exact same house for some reason. Actually, the only time I've spawned in a different house in Rosewood in build 42 was with the police officer occupation, which put me in one of the better houses in the middle of the city. So do with that what you will, and if you're doing this in multiplayer, I'd suggest running for the nearby houses and not basing in that particular one, because you might have a new player just popping into your base. All 3 times I looted the house for my preferred weapon, taking other weapons only when necessary, such as in my first run where there were no axes, so I picked up a kitchen knife and half an iron bar before noticing a long handle that I could use reasonably well thanks to my long blunt skill from Brawler. In my second and third runs, I also crafted, I should say, a sheet sling bag and grabbed water containers and food, as well as dumping the starter pistol and ammo. It kind of felt like cheating when I'm literally going to the place with guns first. Also, I don't know how many servers are going to keep that feature, so I didn't want to start with that. In my third run, I left the house with a pocket knife and scissors for short blades, so I did try looting a second house for short blades on the way, but I really didn't get a whole lot, so just keep in mind that short blades are going to be very hit or miss as far as the quality of the weapons. After looting up, I took the road west to the fire station. When I got there, all 3 times there was a horde to the west on the corner of the station with none to the east. About like 15 zombies or so each time, give or take. Only one of the 3 times the station itself was actually occupied, making an extremely easy POI to loot early on. In another run that I don't have on camera, I actually found a Jason zombie in there. It might have been from a mod, but it turned into a story. But I've never really encountered a whole lot of resistance in there in build 42. In runs 1 and 3, I grabbed a fire axe, the first time because I was a lumberjack and that was my preferred weapon, and the third time because I thought I might need a tool to bust down the door to the armory. I ended up finding a key, but it was still a move I'd recommend just in case you can't find a key like I did in run number 1, and I had to bust it down with my axe. In run 2 with short blunt weapons, I felt confident enough to take on the horde without looting the station since I had decent enough weapons of the right type. In runs 1 and 3, looting the station felt or was necessary, though I really didn't get much out of it in run 3. Maybe like 1 extra bread knife or something, I think it was. I did try sharpening my pocket knife in run 3 after taking out the first 2 zombie firefighters, but I'm guessing you can't sharpen it until it's worn or something, so I gave up and ran it as is. It broke in like 2 more zombies. Against very similar hordes, the axe build was by far the most damaging, but also the most exhausting. I suffered more muscle strain and fatigue using the axe than any other weapon type. Actually, it was the only weapon type that I had to rest off. I definitely recommend finding a way to boost fitness with this build if you're going for early game rushes like I did here. Maintenance-wise though, honestly, it held up pretty well. I'd say if you manage your strain of fatigue and know when to quit and, bring some painkillers, this build is going to do some work. Like, this is good. For those wondering, by the way, if I'm an axe main, no, I'm actually one of the crowbar guys. I didn't include the crowbar because the only two things that boost long blunt are both traits. There's no occupation that does it, and cost a total of 10 points between the two. Picking only one of them, like say baseball players, the cheapest one, gets you a +1, which I already have with this axe build anyway, but I'm not, but why would I do a +1 long blunt when I have +3 axe, or maybe even +4, I think it was, I forget. That said, I did use the long handle a bit as the axe character, so enjoy this compensation footage, what any focus on long blunt at the beginning of the game will get you. At least with 6 strength, because lumberjack things. Run 3 against this horde with short blades took the longest by far, or at least it felt that way. I had several weapons break on me and had to use stealth to avoid drawing the whole group to me at once. The other 2 runs, I could just go, and it was fine. On the other hand, check out how many zombies I didn't pull with this move. Like, right next to the horde with only a car separating me, with conspicuous, I should add. This is why I don't take stealth perks and always use conspicuous. The new stealth system is just too easy to game. It's just not worth. It's just not worth it. One thing I will give Shortblade is I don't think I had any serious muscle strain at the end of the day, which I cannot say for either short blunt or axes. I know I sound like I'm crapping on Shortblade, and I totally am. I don't like short blades, but I can 100% give credit where it's due. It's one of those plentiful weapon types, and since you can find knives and carving forks in kitchens, scissors in bathrooms and bedrooms, screwdrivers in garages and closets, plenty of knives just stuck into random zombies, you can also just bang 2 rocks together and make a short blade with napping, or even refine it further with another rock, into like a stone blade or something like that. But end of the day, it's a long-term strategy, not a short-term one that requires other skills to beef it up. Even after I got guns, I didn't feel confident enough in my backup weapons to pull out the shotgun, opting instead for the M9 until I really needed to pull zombies from a truck I wanted to grab. Run 2 was by far the best of the 3 in my opinion. It felt like a great balance between longevity and damage with the short blunt weapons. I didn't feel underpowered with even a basic iron pipe. I didn't feel like I was getting exhausted too quickly, and the muscle strain felt pretty manageable. It wasn't build 41, but it was totally fine. Weapons weren't quite as plentiful as Shortblade, which could theoretically use a freaking pencil to kill a zombie, but the ones I found were more than serviceable. And because I wanted some level of realistic goal to these runs instead of just combat content, I made it a goal to either grab a car and escape the area or secure the area enough for a night's sleep, but don't worry about that, it's not important to the video. Okay, now that we've covered the runs, let's talk about some of the details of melee combat. I've covered a bunch of them so far, and you may have even seen some in the video, but it's also the subtle ones that will get you killed. In these clips, you see me doing maneuvers really close to the zombies. This is a lot more dangerous than it looks. Okay, Build 42 reduced the character's turning speed and made the zombies try to grab you quicker. One way to reduce that time is to turn to a 90-degree angle instead of trying to run directly away. Turn one direction to get some space, and then fully around to run away instead of just hitting the other directional keys. Great alternative, depending on how the zombies stack up, is pushing the lead zombie. That can also make enough room to turn around directly. The difference is honestly so subtle, I didn't think about it until this video, and you'll need muscle memory to get it down, but with a bit of practice you'll be able to cut it just as close as Build 41, maybe being a little more careful. The next factor I'm going to bring up is night combat. If you can't see, you can't swing effectively, and you need to stick close to lights. Even with those lights, however, you can see the difference between my daytime vision cone and my nighttime vision cone. Nighttime is zombie time. It's not for you, okay? Retreat, find shelter. You will get killed with the new lighting system. Like, looking back on this, this is even sketchy for just a demonstration. Like, do not do what I'm doing here. This is not the right way to do this. Okay, third, keep an eye on your moodles. I don't because I'm intentionally doing something stupid to see what's possible and actually don't care if I survive. But watch the difference between these first 7 zombies getting wrecked with the axe and this similar sized horde that pushes me back instead. Yeah, big difference. If you're seeing pain, take painkillers to hold off muscle strain. If you're seeing panic, take beta blockers. This is not the time to be sober. You're in the apocalypse. Pop those pills like they're going out of style, alright? And that brings me to the 4th detail, inventory actions. I removed the sound for consistency in the video, but while I'm playing, I'm using sound to tell me when I'm far enough from the zombies to open my inventory. Anything from putting mags back in a bag to popping pills to just eating, all of that still needs you to open your inventory and take an action. And that action doesn't start consistently while you're moving. Be patient. Wait for an opening before taking your eyes off the action. And even then, keep your ears peeled for the first sound of anything. Many actions started when stopped can be resumed when moving. Prioritize walking away from the zombies over whatever you are trying to do. Getting something out of your bag is not more important than surviving the next 5 minutes. Finally, don't trust chain link fences anymore. Okay, they're not secure. Here you can see zombies banging on them. That's because they're now considered thumpable in game mechanics. Spears can attack through them. You see me shooting through them here. But generally, treat them like a line of doors, okay? It'll hold for a bit, but not forever, and not against a sizable horde. Alright, well, that's it for now. Let me know about any builds or things you want me to try, and I'll be happy to show them off and give you my honest opinion. Till then, sleep tight, and don't let the zombies bite.